my story with this product and company is unique because I took the long road. I went the long way to come back to this, which hopefully you don't do once you watch this video. But I had some stomach related issues when I was growing up, and my family immigrated from Hungary when I was a little boy with two suitcases, no money, couldn't speak English, and we were pursuing the Canadian dream, the American dream of freedom and all that good stuff. And it obviously worked out a little bit differently, like many people, where you get stuck in a job, like we're explaining, and life starts happening to you, and it's this vicious cycle that's hard to keep up with. You're paycheck to paycheck, in debt, and you're just trying to stay afloat. And that was my family. So growing up, I had that as a model to follow in. And during that time, I was having stomach issues with my pain, bloating, discomfort, heartburn, acid reflux, all these types of symptoms. Sometimes I was constipated. Sometimes I couldn't, go to the bathroom. Sometimes I had diarrhea, all that kind of stuff. And I went to the doctor trying to figure out what was going on with me. Was I sensitive to certain foods? Did I have some kind of illness or something? And every single time I went to the doctor, they told me that they can't find anything. Like I looked perfectly healthy on paper when they did all my tests. So it was very confusing and frustrating and stressful for my parents. As a little boy, I'm like between the ages of 5 and 10. I'm helpless as a kid. I can't do anything, and they're trying their best to make me better. And so I'm always in pain, always holding my stomach. Um, sleeping in the fetal position, can't sleep. And it was just a constant in my life. I was always feeling something that wasn't right now, you're probably, if you don't have stomach problems, you can't feel your stomach. It's just there, but you don't feel it. Well, I always felt something. Like there was always a pain, a discomfort of some kind, sometimes severe, sometimes minor, but it was always there. And this went on for over 10 years of us going to the hospital and having these issues. When I was in high school, I started getting attacks. So before it was just a mild discomfort that was always lingering. Then it turned into an actual attack. And what I mean by an attack is it felt like somebody from the UFC started punching me in the guts out of nowhere, like very randomly. And a couple of times I even collapsed to my knees. It felt like a freaking ghost or something just punched me in the guts. It was crazy. And my mom would panic, like, oh my God, what's happening to my son? Take me to the emergency room. Once again, they'd hook me up to different things and they'd be like, we don't know what's going on. Everything looks good. So it's like, how in the fuck, sorry for my language, I do swear. So if that happens, deal with it. But it's like, how in the fuck are you telling me that I'm healthy when I don't feel healthy? So do you guys agree that feeling healthy and feeling good is connected to health? Don't tell me I'm healthy when clearly I don't feel good. So this was a very confusing time. And then eventually they determined that I had a condition called gall sludge, which is similar to gallstones, except instead of a big stone, it was like one stone obliterated into hundreds of tiny little sand size stones. And they would be getting stuck in my bile duct, which is the passage from the bile leaving the gallbladder into your digestion, to your stomach, and it would get stuck there in the tube. And obviously, this is very small in your body, but it would cause this excruciating pain until eventually it would pass. And once it passed, the pain would subside and it would feel as if everything was okay for a few months. Now, I know that there are many people dealing with similar issues and many other issues, which we're going to touch on a little bit during this presentation. But we were the types of people that believed in the medical system in Canada. We assumed that if something was wrong, the doctors would have the answers. That's why they were there. They went to school and they're smarter than us and they're educated. And when something happens, they'll tell you what's wrong and show you how to fix it. So that was us too, like many people. And they told us, oh, you have to get your gallbladder removed. I was like, okay, well, I don't know, man. I'm like 15 years old. That seems kind of crazy to remove my gallbladder at such a young age. So we went to 3 other specialists. None of them knew each other, and presented the situation, and they diagnosed the same thing: remove the gallbladder. So at this point, my mom kind of felt helpless. Like, okay, 3 specialists are all saying this is what we got to do. We should listen. So I got my gallbladder removed, and for 6 months after the surgery, things were actually better. That constant pain was gone. I had to be a little bit more strict with my diet because I no longer had a gallbladder, which is really important for eating fatty foods and digesting certain things that are maybe not the healthiest things to eat. So I had to be more strict. And then 6 months later, it all came back. And this time it was worse. This time the mild discomfort was more on the severe side, but it was still always there lingering. So now my mom got pissed. She's like, they were fucking guessing. And she's like, the medical system failed us. They were guessing. They didn't even know. They just resorted to a surgery, blah, blah, blah. And she got really frustrated. So she took matters into her own hands and really started to go deep into alternative medicine, holistic nutrition, some of the preventative things that are available, and stopped just putting all of our trust into the doctors when something went wrong. And during this time, she was learning a lot about different health things. And this one thing kept coming up. This one thing kept getting mentioned from all these different doctors, top nutritionists, the smartest people in the world that were all educated on health in a naturopathic way, as opposed to pushing pills and antibiotics and this kind of stuff, reacting to people's illnesses. So this thing kept coming up, and what it was water. And it was such a weird feeling when my mom told me that she discovered that water is more important than we thought. And I was kind of like, huh? Because when we were going to the hospital and to the doctor for over 10 years, not one single time did a single person who worked at the hospital or the doctor's office bring up water. Not once. So what in the world is going on, right? So they were telling us, oh, switch my diet, go on these supplements, do this, do that, blood test, allergy test, all these other tests. Water was never brought up. They asked us if we drink water, and we're like, yeah, of course, but it never got deeper than that. So from there, she started doing research on water. And what happened next is she got introduced by this company that I'm about to dive into in a moment with some slides and some information that that was basically being bashed on the internet by a competitor, and it was being talked down upon and all this negative stuff. And my mom, luckily, was wise enough to be able to see this slimy marketing approach these companies had. And what they were trying to do was take the educated people and bait and switch them with their products and say it was better, but actually had this other company on their website. My mom's like, you only compare yourself to the best. You're never going to put anything on your website even remotely close to something that is inferior to your product. So it all made sense for her, and we ended up being introduced to this company. And that was in May of 2008. So it's almost 12 years ago. So I do have experience with this product. And the reason I said that I took the long way is because this water, when we first got it, within 2 weeks, I was skeptical. Sorry, I should say before. When my mom first got the water, I was skeptical. I didn't believe it was going to help me. I sort of accepted that my health issues were going to be with me for the rest of my life. It was over a decade and nothing worked. I wasn't hopeful anymore. I wasn't positive anymore. In fact, it kind of pissed me off. If my mom brought it up, I'd be like, Mom, leave me the fuck alone. This is just the way it is. I got to that place, which is not a good place to be. And she's like, please just drink this water. It's going to work. I was like, nope, not happening. Drink the water, nope. And then she pulled the Hungarian mom card and was like, I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't drink it. I was like, okay, all right, I'll drink it. I live in your house. Okay, fine. So I drank the water, and within 2 weeks of trying it, still skeptical. I would literally give a face look at it funny and drink it. Within 2 weeks, my issues disappeared. And income disclaimer, or wait, health disclaimer, health disclaimer, that doesn't mean that it cured me. It doesn't mean that it will cure you or anything like that. It just happened to be the missing piece of a puzzle that I was trying to solve for over 10 years with my family. And because we'll get into how important water truly is in a moment, it happened to be the thing that I was missing this whole time. And that was when everything changed. Little did I know then that it would lead to what has happened today. Little did I know then that so many countless lives would be impacted with the products, and then also with the business, which is I know why you're here. You want to learn about the business. You want to learn about how to make money. You want to learn how to quit your job and travel the world, or whatever it might be for you. This 100% has the ability to provide that for you. But if you don't try the products and you don't believe in the products, then it's always much, much more difficult to stick with something long term because you will lose the passion. You will lose that fire. You'll get bored of it and you don't feel like you're making a difference. You don't feel like you're making an impact. And really, at the end of the day, guys, you can do it all. You can make the income, have the impact, change lives in many different ways. You can do it all if you're in the right place, which you are with this offer. So, without further ado, I'm going to dive into it. And then I'll share a little bit later when we dive into the numbers and the business, a little bit about my story around how the business transformed my life 5 years after I started drinking the water.